I'm Deanne McCarthy, CEO of Swiftsure Innovations, where our goal is to improve the standard of care and oral health for mechanically ventilated patients worldwide. Sorry, I don't know how do I move forward? Big green button, okay, perfect, awesome. So prior to founding this company, I was a registered nurse in a medical ICU. And in our training, they focused on the importance of oral health due to its direct correlation to pneumonia prevention. So the endotracheal tube that connects the mechanical ventilator to the patient's lungs creates a direct pathway for germs in the mouth to enter the oral cavity. And despite my best efforts, I saw across the board the oral health of all my mechanically ventilated patients decline despite my best efforts. My inability to safely clean far back in the oral cavity made me realize I didn't have the right tools for the job. So here you see some tools that we commonly use in ICU. So there's a toothette, that sponge on the stick basically, that we use to wipe the interior of the oral cavity. But it's very difficult for us nurses to reach far back in the oral cavity. These patients are sedated and uncooperative. So it's basically the clinicians are doing a blind jab to try to clean far back in the mouth, and it's impossible to clean behind the tube in the mouth and access all areas. You also see imaged a suction apparatus. So also these patients aren't able to drink. They have no oral intake. They're also, their mouth is propped open by this tube. So everything really dries out. They have a drastic decline in saliva production. So what we see is really cracked, dried mucous membranes, and all the secretions and mucus get so thick that they're impossible to suction. And when we extubate these patients, the tubes are caked with basically thick mucus that ranges in color from brown to black to gray. It's basically kind of like a biohazard. And it got me thinking really practically about this gap in oral care is why aren't we able to rinse far back in the oral cavity? And it's something that we do every day. So I left the hospital and began working with a brilliant group of biomechanical engineers, and we have developed a really simple consumable medical device, a mouthpiece that easily fits into the oral cavity of a sedated patient due to its topography and living hinge. And it allows us to safely clean far back in that oral cavity by simultaneously irrigating and suctioning. So it allows us to basically thin, thick, dehydrated secretions far back in the oral cavity so they can be effectively removed. And it allows us to rinse away everything that's been mechanically dislodged through toothbrushing. And most importantly, it's fast and easy to use and fits within the workflow of ICU. So there are, again, a number of products out there that allow us to brush, suction, and wipe. And in addition to, we should be rinsing the oral cavity. And only the Swiftsure Swish Kit allows us to safely rinse all of these impossible to reach areas. So ventilator-acquired pneumonia requires patients to need extended length of mechanical ventilation, ICU stay, increased diagnostics, antibiotic use. And it's an expensive care environment. 1 day of mechanical ventilation costs $4,000. So by avoiding infection in this very expensive care environment, the cost savings are huge. So there are 2 million long-term mechanically ventilated patients in the US each year. So when we look at our beachhead market of the US, this is a $1.2 billion market opportunity. And when we expand it globally, it's $3 billion. So with our pre-seed funds, we have completed design, transfer to manufacturing, completed verification and validation, and we are on track to register with the FDA next month. We have completed our clinical use validation study at the Cleveland Clinic, and we've incorporated product enhancements to our commercial device. We have begun early adopter outreach to identify early adopters during our soft market launch. And next up with our seed funds, we are going to conduct a bacterial reduction pilot at the Cleveland Clinic. We've been working with Forsyth, which is an arm of the Harvard School of Dental Medicine. They are world leaders in the oral microbiome and health research, oral health research. So they worked on our protocol. And we're also going to begin our soft commercial launch and find early adopters who are key opinion leaders in oral health and its correlation to pneumonia prevention. And during this time, we'll validate our business model and our sales and pricing strategy, as well as fine-tune our training materials. With our Series A funds, we will complete a multi-center bacterial reduction study with one of the sites, again, being at the Cleveland Clinic. And we'll also transition from our direct sales model to our distribution channel with distribution model with clinical overlay. And at this time, we'll also do cost reduction and manufacturing optimization. Our clinical validation study at the Cleveland Clinic was a huge success. The Swish kit is the first device to ever rinse the mouth of a mechanically ventilated patient. The nurses that used the device commented that it would improve the oral health of their patients. It was easy to use, and that would be very effective for long-term mechanically ventilated patients. We also observed a very quick learning curve with the use of the device. So the white paper is being submitted for presentation at the American Society of Anesthesiologists, and we have submitted our bacterial reduction pilot to the IRB at Cleveland Clinic. So within a very short amount of time, it's only been 18 months since we closed our pre-seed round, and in that time, we've completed our clinical use validation study at one of the top hospitals in the nation for this 510K exempt device. We've transferred to manufacturing, fully implemented our quality system, and are on track again to register with the FDA next month. We've undertaken corporate rebranding, and we'll launch our new website in May. We have 2 utility patent family applications and 2 design family patent applications, and continue to expand our patent estate. I have assembled a very experienced and competent team. Glenn Hanner comes to us with 15 years of industry experience commercializing medical devices in the startup space, and he has 2 successful exits under his belt. Ina Moynihan is our director of quality, and she has 10 years of experience as a quality engineer. And Robert Tersini, our financial lead, he's our CPA with experience budgeting and forecasting for medical device startups. We have an excellent advisory board with industry-specific requisite skills and building corporations with the ability to scale. And we have a strong medical advisory board with experience researching ventilator-acquired pneumonia and oral health research in the ICU space. So we're actually closing legals for our seed round today. So this will fund, again, our bacterial reduction pilot, our soft commercial launch, and we'll gain our compelling reference customers with repeat orders. And we're here positioning ourselves for our Series A, and we are raising $9.5 million to complete our multi-center bacterial reduction study and to fuel our full commercial launch and to scale the company. So in terms of our fundraising history, in combination with our pre-seed and seed round, we've raised $2.74 through convertible notes and just over $500,000 in non-dilutive funding from the Canadian government. We are solving a big gap in oral care that's been acknowledged by every critical care nurse that we've interacted with. This is a large and accessible market opportunity, and we are set to begin our commercial efforts in May. This is a 510K exempt device with strong intellectual property in place. In a very short time, our experienced team has built a validated product with proven clinical utility. And we have positive initial clinical results, again, at one of the top hospitals in the nation. And we do have a strong business model that's supported by a large gross margin, even at low volumes, and a strong go-to-market plan with an experienced team to execute it. So it's our vision to see the Swish kit at the bedside and ICUs world-round, providing nurses with the increased efficiency and effectiveness to provide comprehensive oral care. And we really, truly believe that this will give critically ill patients a better chance of recovery. Thank you.